Hello! Have you got hankies hanging around from grandma or mom that have lost their useful purpose? Well, this live and the lives following on every Monday are going to help us determine what to do with all these hankies. These hankies were given to me by Joyce Watts. She has challenged me to come up with something other than a quilt. I mean, that's what I do. I quilt. But I also do lots of other projects. So this has been a wonderful challenge to help me decide what to do with all these and how to make them into a project that's going to be useful and loved from here on out. So today's live is all about my design process and how I've gone through and decided kind of what we're going to do with all these hankies. That Joyce will start loving them all over again. First thing I did was sort of like looked at all of them. They're gorgeous. I have all sorts of hankies that have, lacy things. I have lots of hankies that have beautiful crochet. So I have several of those that have butterflies and hand embroidered flowers. And let's see, I have another butterfly, I have another hand embroidered flower. I just have tons of these gorgeous hankies. She also threw in here this gorgeous embroidered table runner. And so I'm going to definitely use this in several projects because it's got gorgeous embroidery on it. And then a ton of them right here that have gorgeous crocheted edges. And most of them are in really awesome condition. So I can use them in any project I want. Some of them I could piece and do some different things with so that I can get rid of some of those used parts or torn parts that probably shouldn't go into another project. Won't make it. All right, so here is my designing process. Okay, so number one, I start by looking for any projects that others have done so that I can just glean on what works, what doesn't, and how to figure out where I'm going with that. So I have started by using Pinterest. I perused Pinterest probably for about 6 months, trying to find different projects that people have done using lace, using hand embroidered projects, using all sorts of different things that would be on these hankies. And then I have piled them into one folder on Pinterest. If you don't know what Pinterest is, just look it up and then you can subscribe for free and you're on your way. Okay, and you can put all that stuff into a separate folder so that you can go back and look at it later. Now that I'm sort of ready to get going, I have sort of compiled my top 4 projects. My top 4 projects currently are a bag of some sort, a notebook cover because I am the notebook cover queen, and some let's see, I have a tea towel apron is my next like top 4, and then in the at the end project I want to make a cross stitching bag, and this is sort of my own like it's really in its design process. Right now, I have gotten into cross stitching because I needed another hobby, right? We all need other hobbies. I am definitely a dabbler and like to experiment with all different types of stuff. And so this cross stitch bag looks really, really cool. And then I found another one and another one and another one. And I was like, oh, but I could put my threads here instead of there. And anyway, I went crazy. So that's where I'm at with the cross stitch bag. And so that's where I start my design process. I just get ideas. And then I start, okay, I'm going to list these things into the top 4. I'm going to start compiling. And so that's where Trello comes in. And so normally before I found Trello, I would just sort of put all these things in a notebook, which I really have. I have all my stuff in a notebook. But Trello, and I'm not quite sure if you can see it. I'm going to bring it in here. So Trello is on my computer, and I can literally move my best ideas, my ones that gave me the most creative thought, over into their own little board. Okay. And so, for example, we have a zipper pouch here. And so I have my zipper pouch links. And so I put the picture of the item that inspired me and stuck it right here in Trello so that I have everything that's in there ready to go. My notebook covers, I did the same thing. And so here you can see I have several different styles and I'm like, oh my gosh, that used embroidery. Oh my gosh, that used lace. And so I was just getting my ideas. And then over here, I just loved this, how not only were they doing a tea towel, but they were bringing in some yo-yos. And so that inspired me even more. What can we do with this project? We can learn all sorts of embellishments. These are small, tiny projects that you could decide, oh, I can learn how to do a yo-yo. I can learn how to do some piping. I can learn how to do pinwheels. No, pinwheels. And and prairie points and all sorts of different things are put into these small projects so that if you like them, you can move on and do them in a bigger project. Or you can say, yep, done that, decided not for me. But you didn't waste too much fabric, you didn't waste too much time, you got to learn a new skill, which is everything that I love to do anyway. And so that's what this whole series is going to be about. Not only are we going to work with this awesome, lacy, gorgeous stuff, but we're going to learn a whole bunch of embellishments and a whole bunch of other things that we can put with these, and along the way, how to figure out what we're doing, how we're going to measure our project, how we're going to cut our project, what's going to be the best way to handle all this fabric. You know, there will be mistakes along the way. No problem. They're not mistakes. They're always happy accidents. So after I've done Trello and sort of gotten everything into my nice, neat little display of what I kind of want to do, I then start writing it down in notebooks. So first project that we'll start next week is a bag. We're going to start a bag, okay? Because I got very, very inspired by these prairie points. And I was like, I have always wanted to do prairie points and never had the guts. One, because all the prairie points I ever saw were huge. And they use a lot of fabric. And so for me, I was like, I'm not ready to use all that fabric and worry about wastage and that type of thing if I don't like it. And so this will give us an opportunity to do prairie points in a really small project. And I'm going to be able to use one of those lacy crocheted butterflies. And so I already have the idea all worked out that we'll put that butterfly down here at the bottom. And I'm playing, you can tell already, with the idea of how am I going to back him since he is crocheted. But I want to keep that lace, so not quite ready for that yet. We'll talk about that stuff more next week. All right, and then the next project that I already have now down on paper and is working its way in there is the tea towels. The tea towels and the apron really inspired me. I have some gorgeous toweling that I can use to then embellish all these things. And so we'll talk about that more because we have all this gorgeous crocheting around some of these napkins. So for instance, I have this crochet right here around this napkin. Is it possible that I can make that crochet go all the way across the napkin? We're going to find out in just a few weeks. And then there were some other, not prairie points, but there were some other gorgeous embellishments that I found while I was doing my research. And I was like, ooh, that would be fun to try. So I can do prairie points. Surely we can move to the next step and do that. So we're going to do that. And this is the perfect place on a tea towel to put some of this embroidered, hand embroidered flowers and hand embroidered things that we had on the other napkins. So that would be really, really cool to be able to put those into some of the tea towels and then link it with the apron. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And with that project, I am going to try and find some coordinating fabrics to go with that. And so I'll show you that process as we get to it. And then next, I have my notebook cover. I really loved this notebook cover that had all this lace and used the 2.5-inch strips. So that was kind of cool. And they also did some hand embroidery on that project. And so I'm like, ooh, that would be an awesome opportunity to show you how to do some simple flowers using just a little bit of embroidery floss and your needle. And then you could just enhance it and and add in some beads, and we could just go crazy with the embellishments, and it'll be fun. And then the last one we're going to do is the one that is a little bit on the empty side in my notebook, but that's okay. We're weeks, maybe months away from this, so I can continue planning this as we go. And when we get to this, I will definitely show you how I am mapping out the hoop size that I have so that I can have my hoop pocket, the different things. I'm actually going to use some different medium in fabric. I'm going to use some wool felt so that I can have a place to put my needles. I'm going to use some clear vinyl so that I can see the threads that I have in my pack in my front pocket for my projects. And I am going to try. I saw one of them had a center flap. We're going to put a center flap in this just because it looks like a challenge, and I think we can do it. And the whole time, we're going to be using all our napkins so that they can have a rejuvenating life and a new love for what they're doing, and be able to just bring some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff to our projects. So that is what's coming. Please leave some comments in the chat, because we would love to know what you would like to see us do in the embellishments. I mean, I'm all for trying something new. And so if you're looking forward to doing something and you're not quite sure how to do it yet, I will figure out a way to incorporate this into the project. We're going to meet every Monday at 11. And this is all we're doing for this project, is using these hankies into different rejuvenating ways. And I'm sure you have stuff around the house all over the place that just needs an uplift in order to be loved again, because you don't want to throw it away. I mean, it's perfectly good, whatever. And so we're going to upcycle a whole bunch of stuff. So, like, subscribe, comment. We would love to hear from you, and we will see you next Monday.